Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. Lord willing, every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, we'll meet with you. You can go to Ministry Moments YouTube and subscribe. That way you'll get it every week. Or now we've added it to the solvechurchproblems.com, and you can go down there and you'll find Ministry Moments. Ministry Moments YouTube, you're able to go back to almost, in fact, to the very beginning of this. So every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, we'll meet with you, and I'll do my best to try to be very practical and hopefully very pinpointed on issues that maybe might that might be of help to you. Next April the 2nd, I'll start my 49th year of ministry, and it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to be a part of the Lord's work, but also to have had the men who've preceded me, whom I looked up to and learned much from. And a lot of the things I'm sharing with you, I got directly from those men. And some things I supplemented to, never substituted, but I added to what they taught me. So the next generation can have sort of build a bridge between the old generation and the new generation. And I hope that's what I'm able to do. So today, boys and girls, we're going to talk about stewardship, And don't be scared. Don't run from it. It'll be fine. But there'll be more people in hell for a lack of cash than because you cuss. Cash is to be able to keep the missionaries on the field. We gave $9.3 million to missions in the 3 decades that I pastored at Longview Baptist Temple. We started over 1,700 churches. In fact, our missions director, Richard Hitt, went home to be with the Lord last week. And he's the one who supplied me all of those stats and did a tremendous job. And he's going to be missed. Heaven's gain, earth's loss, but he's going to be missed. But anyway, he helped with the missions aspect of it and just did a tremendous job. So I want to take the thing of stewardship, get your pen out, want you to write some things down and see if I can't help you with it. All right. Number one, I would set aside 1 month each year. I would have a Bible theme, and for 1 month, I would emphasize, we used to have, like most churches, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and that was it. But to get the people to come like you'd want them to, it just didn't work. People are busy. But also, when they did come, they missed what happened the night before or what happened the 2 nights before, and then that was it for another year. So I came up with the idea thinking that maybe the wise thing to do is to do it for an entire month. And so I did that with missions and with stewardship. And it helped us. It helped us. It may work for you. It may not work for you. I don't know. But I know for me, I loved it. January was our stewardship month. So I'm suggesting now, set aside 1 month with a Bible theme. Brainstorm it. Get with your men and brainstorm a Bible theme for missions. Number 2, focus on 3 things. Focus on time, talent, and treasure. Focus on 3 things: time, talent, and treasure. So throughout the entire month, whatever you weave it into teaching, weave it into preaching, but make sure that you cover those 3 areas that month. You want to cover the use of our time, the use of our talent, and the use of our treasure. All right? So number 1, I'm suggesting this. You don't have to do this. You can live in darkness if you want to. Anyway, number 1, set aside 1 month with a Bible theme for it. Ours was January. Number 2, focus on time, talent, and treasure. Weave it into everything that you do. Number 3, print commitment cards. We would have a commitment card printed out that we would hand out by the hundreds. And every time we come to church, I'd pass one out. And I'd have, in your envelope, your offering envelope, you have these different boxes. Well, that would be on the front of the card. And I would want them to fill that out. And by the time the month's over, and turn it in. Now, on the back of that same card with those boxes that matched our offering envelope were different areas, 15 or 20 areas, where laymen could take whatever talent they have, electrician, plumber, whatever it might be, and they could check on the back. One thing that they could do this coming year for the Lord using the abilities that God has given them. And so then they would go and they would check it off. Well, then we would have whatever staff member we had, would get a hold of them and say, we've got this project in April. Can we get your help? Well, they've already committed themselves by saying to us, I have certain abilities. And they ought to be able to use that talent, or I use the word talent because it starts with a T, and all three got to be the same. Anyway, their abilities. So number one, set aside 1 month a month. We set aside January, have a Bible theme. Number two, focus on time, talent, and treasure. Those three things throughout the month. Next, print commitment cards using the front of your offering envelope as places for them to put the amounts in that they're going to turn in. Next, have options of places of service on the back of the card. Have options of place of service in the back of the card. Again, we'd have 15, 20 different areas that we could use their help. We may have a paid staff maintenance man, but there may be some things that we're going to do. We've got to have help. And so we would know by looking at that card who said, I have this ability to be able to do whatever it might do. And then we would have them come in and work on it. And boy, it ties them in because it's their church and they're doing their best, and God bless them. This is an area that they're comfortable with. All right, so number one, set aside 1 month with the Bible theme. Number two, focus on time, talent, and treasure. Number three, print commitment cards. Then four, have options of places of service on the back of that card. So when they turn it in, we would check the back. Somebody says, typing, decorations, whatever it might be. All right, next, teach percentages. This is very, very important. Teach them to give by percentages. A lot of times somebody will commit themselves to missions, for example, and then the hours are cut back. And they would come in and say, preacher, what am I going to do? My hours are cut back. I said I was going to give $20 a week to Faith Promise, but to missions, I can't do that. But hours are cut back. I would always say to them, now you go back and figure out a percentage. And then you translate it, put it in an amount. But you always keep in the back of your mind, I'm giving a certain percentage to debt retirement, to the bus ministry, to missions, whatever it might be. And you let that percentage dictate. So you know what your average weekly pay is, I would say to them. Then why don't you figure out a percentage? That way, if your pay goes down, it's still the same percentage. If your pay goes up, it's still the same percentage. That way you don't have to come see me and say, look, no, I'm not backslid. I am, but I don't want you to think I'm turning my back on missions or whatever it might be. So that's very important. Teach them okay, the tithe is what? 10%. Leviticus said, if you're late on your tithe, add a fifth. What's a fifth? 20%. You see what I'm saying? Check it out. All throughout the Bible, a quarter, a fifth, a half. God deals over and over again in percentages. This way, all ground is level ground in this matter of giving, simply because you're keeping your word. You said 1% for missions, you're keeping your word. Now, we want you to translate it to a dollar amount so that we know how our missions budget's going to, whether we can add on missionaries or not. Okay, so number one, set aside 1 month with a Bible theme for your stewardship. Number two, focus on time, talent, and treasure. Number three, print commitment cards using the front part of the card, the same boxes that you have in your offering envelopes. All right, next, have options of places of service on the back of the commitment card. When they turn it over, I check this, I check it, I can type. I'd be glad to help with mail outs and whatever, and then have them check it off. Then when we needed them, we would look at that card and say, can you come and help us? We noticed on your card that you put this down. Next, teach percentages. So that way they don't feel like that they're not doing what they committed themselves to. Their commitment should be based on percentage. That way they'll never have to worry. Next, teach a Sunday school series. Come up with a Sunday school series on time, talent, and treasure. Those three areas. And from elementary all the way through college, high school, and adults, you have that series of Sunday school lessons prepared so that everybody teaches the same thing. And the Sunday school lessons are meant to explain why, explain how. All right. Next, teach a Wednesday night series, practical Wednesday night series. All our Wednesday night series were so practical and pinpointed. I wanted to help them with their budget. I wanted to help them with their finances. I wanted to help them. And so I would teach very practical lessons on Wednesday night. All right. So number one, set aside 1 month a year. We did January, Bible theme. Number two, focus on time, talent, and treasure. Next, print commitment cards with the front of the card having the boxes that match the offering envelope. Next, have options of places of service on the back of the card for them to select. Next, teach them to give by percentages and then translate that to a dollar amount. Next, teach a Sunday school series on time, talent, and treasure. Next, teach a very practical Wednesday night Bible study series. Oh, several men, I had 33 men on the deacon board, but several come to me and said, thank you for that. My house is paid off. And they would just thank me. And what a blessing it was. So then preach on time, talent, and treasure. Teach it, very practical lessons. Then teach Wednesday night, very practical lessons to help them with their savings, how to save, help them with their investments, help them with their budget, help them to be able to get control of their budget. So then preach on time, talent, then preach on it, and then draw a commitment. Folks, we've got to commit ourselves this month to be good stewards, all right? Next, have laymen, this is very important, have laymen give a testimony before each service. Before every service, Sunday morning, we'd schedule for the entire month. One of our men would get up and talk about how he learned from Stewardship Month, how God blessed him because of Stewardship Month, and then encourage others to do the same. We did that before Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. So before I would go to the pulpit, we'd have a layman come up. I would introduce them. Then they would give a testimony. It made a lot of difference in some of the minds of some of the members of the church. It really did help. Next, collect the commitment cards. Collect the commitment cards. So when the month is over, and you pass those out, I'd pass those cards out week after week after week after week, and but I'd have them turn it in at the end of the month. Then that would help me determine whether or not debt retirement, what that was going to be, and so on and so forth, and help us determine our future budget, for example. Now, our budget was never based on what they turned in. It was based on what they actually gave last year. But this was a way of encouraging them to give more this year. On the debt retirement cut down on the mortgage and so on. All right, let's back up. Stewardship. Number one, set aside 1 month with a Bible theme. We did it in January. You can do it anytime, but have a month for that. Number two, focus on time, talent, and treasure. Number three, print commitment cards. On the front of the card, have it match the envelope. Then on the back of the card, the next point, have options of places of service where they can say, I can help in this area. Have possible areas of service. Teach percentage. Translate that into a dollar amount, but let it always be on that percentage in their minds. I'm going to give a certain percentage to debt retirement. I'm going to give a certain percentage to bus ministry and so on. Then teach a Sunday school series, very practical, on time, talent, and treasure. Next, teach a Wednesday night series. I tried to keep it so practical and help them with every area of their finances. Next, preach on time, talent, and treasure. Get sermons. Give them the sermons, thoughts on that. Next, have laymen give a testimony for each service. Have one of your good laymen, God bless them, that's been blessed by this, and they get up and give a testimony, encourage others to get involved. It really made a big difference. And then collect commitment cards. Make sure you collect those at the end of the month. And then I would write them, last of all, I would write them a letter, to them and thank them for their commitment card and put on there the amount. Put it in the letter so they know you got it, you know the amount, and you can be praying for them to be able to keep their commitment from the front of the year. There's a constant encouragement to make sure to be good stewards with the time you have, the talent you have, and the treasure you have. Very, very important to punch that reset button. And it helped us. We went from a low of $2,250 in 1980 to averaging $62,300 a week. And by the way, we just met above our budget by $100 a week. Sometimes people look and say, "Boy, that church got a lot of money. Look at those buildings and everything." No, we're tight just like everybody else. And the thing that we did do, I lived on 80% of that money that came in. And then that way, 7 years of feast, 7 years of famine, the Joseph principle, I call it. Then I had money stashed away, backed up to where we had a bad streak. We still had the money to be able to keep the thing going. We had a surplus account and an operating account, and we made sure that all the monies were put in that surplus account, transferred then to the budget account. That's another lesson. We'll get that at another time. God bless you. Thank you for being with us. And don't forget, every Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, you join us on Ministry Moments YouTube, or go to solvechurchproblems.com, and you go down, you'll see Ministry Moments there, and be able to, it's something you can listen to over and over again. We have several pastors who take this and sit their staff members down and make them listen to it. God bless those poor staff members. But this is just very practical stuff. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Now, tomorrow, the soul winning. Don't you let up on this thing of soul winning. You make sure you go soul winning and you keep stirring those baptismal waters, and God will bless you. I promise you he will. I've seen it. It's happening again too. God bless you. All right. I'll see you next week. Don't miss it. 3 o'clock Central Time, Ministry of Moments, YouTube. God bless you.